Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every time we do it all again. It's habit. We're looking at that right now. Did you know from the research that Gardner said that when self-control goes in a human being, our habits kick in? Isn't that very interesting? So train ourselves subconsciously and our habits will be conscious to us. We can just go on the automatic down the highway type way and just lay back and trust ourselves to achieve. Habit loop is one thing we're looking at here. There is another guy called Doug, and he describes that habits are consisting of three steps in this loop, right? One, you've got a cue, then you have routine, and then you have reward. So what is the cue then? The cue triggers the habit, and the routine then is the behavior. So you got to get something to push it forward here in the first place. And then the routine goes with behavior. So let's just look at a real world example. It's said that a lot of traffic accidents happen on the road when people switch off in the last couple of miles, 5 miles or so from home. That's a well-worn path that they've gone down that path many times before. And so they perhaps listen to the radio or whatever else, looking out the window, looking at their neighbors. So the cue there is, I start thinking, I'm on the way home now. This is it. I can relax, start thinking about my dinner, start thinking about the good things I'm doing after work and so on. Routine then is the behavior itself. This is the routine of doing these 5 miles all of the time. So we're switched off. This is where habits then kick in. And then the reward is the positive reinforcement that reinforces the habit loop. I get home. I'm here. I'm with my children. I'm with my wife. I'm with all these people. That's exactly what home is to me. So understanding this loop is crucial for identifying changing your habits, knowing that there must be that cue, that trigger, and so on. If you are looking at habits, though, you need to start looking at neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize and even form new, not just original, but new neural connections. This can be done at any age, although it is true to say that the younger you are, the easier it is and the better that these neural connections will work for sure. However, if you're old and let's say Alzheimer's, dementia, these terrible things occur, you can start to exercise your brain in ways that will build, even if only slightly, new connections. This is what's known as neuroplasticity. Think of the plastic, right? And it's neuro with the brain. It plays a significant role, believe it or not, in the formation and the change of habits. So the automatic impulse to keep on going is fine. You have those habits already. But we're trying to almost overwrite that with brand new neural connections. That's where the change will come. They will become more powerful. Think of how you download updates on your computer. That's what you're doing here. Brand new things. Habits then become ingrained in the brain by repeated action. So you can't just think this. You can't just visualize this. And that's where a little bit of problems come about, where people think, I just think things and I visualize, and then no, you got to take action. However, if you take action in these forming new habits and then think and visualize things as well, that is increasing the likelihood of these habits will take change as soon as possible, and your behavior will then change. So neuroplasticity then allows for the rewiring. Think of an electrician coming in, taking out the old wires, or even leaving them in if they're fine where they are and if they're covered up, and they're putting in new wires. And these are neural pathways. They establish new habits. Then there are keystone habits too. Now, some habits have a disproportionate impact on other areas of our lives, and they can be known as keystone habits. But if we can figure them out, right? If we can identify and then change these keystone habits, we, along with other individuals and organizations, can create a positive ripple effect that leads to a better, broader behavior and change all around. So think about, let's take PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of people coming back, veterans coming back from a war, and they'll be all coming into the one village or town. And suddenly men, a lot of them might be males, start gathering and boozing a lot because they're trying to hide all their bad memories, and that's understandable. And maybe they can't get motivated because they're stuck back at that tragic time in the war. If we can reorganize their habits straight away, and obviously with therapy, imagine the power of several of these individuals together. Imagine bringing in the positives that they've learned, the teamwork, the leadership from the army, the experiences of all of that, that they can push into brand new things, industries, for example, that will help that village or town. The leadership would be awesome. It would be amazing. So that can be overridden. And this is the motivation for our habits, for our change and development. It's so important that we do it ourselves individually, but also collectively, and we respect those around us that need that analysis and change too. Cue routine reward analysis. Again, the previous researcher looked at analyzing the cue routine reward loop, the one I mentioned, of the existing habits. Why? Well, they wanted to understand the underlying mechanisms and drivers. What drives us will make us survive. By identifying the cues, the little triggers, we'll then be able to go, right, these are unwanted habits. So I need to kind of like a hoarder, pick these up and push them out, get them into a skip, throw them out. Then individuals can develop strategies to replace the routine and exercises. We know that neuroplasticity is there. So why not get the strategies that would feed into that? And then healthier alternatives will actually allow us to feel a reward when our habits then are broken, when our habits are renewed and we have brand new behavior. All of this then will lead to habit change strategy. So we have to have techniques. Look, everybody's different. My life, I could sit here and I could say, right, I wake up at this time in the morning, I eat at this time, I eat my dinner at the other time, I do my exercise at that time, I go to work, I do this, da 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 da. And that's my particular routine in general. Okay, weekends are different and holidays and so on. But then you'll kind of go, right, let me adapt that to you. Fine. But everybody's different and everybody has little idiosyncrasies and little changes. But if you have strategies that can go into that and link in and marry with this neuroplasticity, then you have energy to go forward to establish new routines. You then know the habit loop. The cues then can actually reward you very suddenly. And then suddenly you're like, this is fantastic. I have positivity. This is a new way of doing things. I'm still getting the buzz. I'm still getting the energy from this. And you push back in to doing it again and again and again. How many times do you do it? Well, you're going to do it for a lifetime, because we're trying to create positive habits that will enable you to have success in your life in all aspects, in your health, your wealth, your relationships, and for others around you too. Imagine if you can do that for others around you too. Wouldn't that be wonderful? By putting these strategies into place, new habits will form and you will have a wonderful time. If you want a wonderful time again, please hit that button as thank you for this video, to subscribe, and we'll be able to create a lot more for you in the future as well. Thanks for watching, and please do have a wonderful day.